go back to Nasarawa State, Mr. Governor. As part of your infrastructure development drive, you're constructing an overpass and underpass in Lafia, amongst other projects. And some have argued that such venture is a misplaced priority. As some of your critics say, you adopted cosmetic approach to governance and seem to be more interested in endless inauguration of needless committees on every issue of governance. And they say you're gallivanting in the name of attracting investors to the state, rather than addressing the challenges bedeviling the state. What do you say?
Well, when you are in this kind of position, there is nothing you can do without somebody saying something negative about it or somebody criticizing it. When we came in from 2019 all the way to somewhere around 2023, we did nothing but developing the rural areas, opening the rural areas, creating the roads, working with the World Bank, either through ACRESAL or through NG Cares or through that, to open most of these areas so that agriculture was being boosted, promoting the areas, promoting education and the rest of that. So all those times nobody has complained. So now we have to also promote. We can't be making, we cannot attract people if our cities are not also attractive. If our cities are congested by traffic, I hear a lot of complaints, for instance, for people living in Abuja going towards Kefi. You will hear a lot of complaints around Mararaba, around Masaka, and the rest of that. People will complain very badly about that. Today, if I go and I'm constructing an overhead, there, somebody will criticize it. So I think there are people who have less to do, and they have plenty of time just to sit down and criticize. And for that reason, you can't just give in to those kind of leadership. So there is no area of our own economy in Nasarawa State that we have not touched. There is no local government out of the 13 local government areas that we have not done one development or the other, one major road or the other, one opening of the rural areas or the other. And so the people on ground are always happy, and then every time you visit, those people are very happy. Agriculture has improved. Today, Nasarawa is #1 in some of the crops, like sesame, like yam production and the rest of that. We were not there before. Today, we are #5 in rice production in the country. We were not even #10 before. So those are the kinds of things that you will see. So, but when people complain, and this area that we are talking about is accident after accident after accident that people continue to have there. Take Kefi Market, for instance. When we were building the Kefi Market, some people complained that we are doing that. But this is a market that had burnt 5 times. Today, since we finished that market 2.5 years ago, there had not been fire incident once. But when we started building, people complained, why are you building market? Why are you not building this? Why are you not? So I think criticism is part and parcel of the game, and we just, for me, I've already developed a thick skin that criticism doesn't bother me anymore.
All right. Your Excellency, let's take a break at this moment, and when we come back, we will continue this conversation. Stay with us, everyone. Welcome back to Politics Tonight, everyone. Thank you so much for staying with us. Governor Abdullahi Sule, Executive Governor of Nasarawa State, is on the program with me as we talk about the development strides of Nasarawa State. Your Excellency, thank you very much for staying with us on the program. Mr. Vice President was recently in Lafia for the graduation of over 1,000 beneficiaries of your administration's Skills Acquisition Institute. I want you to talk to us about the need for this state-of-the-art Skills Acquisition Center in Lafia, and what impact will this have on sustainable development in the state?
Well, that's actually an initiative that I learned from where I used to work. I'm an engineer by background, and I went to technical school, craft school, technical school, in order for me to become an engineer. So I'm an expert welder, both shielded metal arc, electric arc, oxyacetylene, and the rest of that. So basically, I came with that mentality that when you have education, you also need a skill. Because without skill, once you have a skill, then you are armed, to be able not to be actually somebody going around looking for a job, to be even an employer of labor. So that's what informed our idea first of establishing the Vocational and Technical Institute that we did. But we decided to go beyond that. Instead of just having it for that, we also look at some of our retirees that are retiring at the age of 60, and some of them still very strong, and they have no other skills. So they also go there and acquire skills in various areas, either going to be welding, fabrication, electrical installation, carpentry and joinery, ICT, and the rest of that. So we have all the shops that are there. So people come, they acquire, and it is out of that the Vice President came for the graduation of 1,200 of them.
Also, I'd like to ask, how successful was your experiment in government going into large-scale commercial agriculture? Was it worthwhile?
Oh, it was fantastic. It was much worthwhile. What we did was that we cannot be calling ourselves a state of agriculture, and yet the state government is not in agriculture itself. So we put your money where your mouth is, or whatever it is they call it in English. So what we decided to do was to acquire 10,000 hectares of land, and then we cultivated 2,000, planted the rice, and we were able to harvest the rice. In fact, that's part of what the Vice President came to do. And when we harvested, we got a very good yield, because the yield of the small-scale farmers in Nasarawa State are ranging anywhere between 4 and 5. In this one, we got about 7 tons per hectare yield, of the rice. Of course, you can do more, you can get better. And now we are cultivating more areas, so we are hoping that we'll be able to have between 3,000 and 5,000 hectares. And then we sold most of the rice to Olam, by the way. That's the paddy to Olam for milling. And then we kept about 20% of that, and we still took about 10% of that we are planting in these 5,000 hectares, and we are taking another 10% of that we have shared in every local government areas. We have given them tractors, and we are hoping every local government should be able also to be involved in at least anywhere between maybe 100 to 200 hectares of land, so that they can cultivate a crop that is peculiar to their own area. So it's been a very big success. I'm very happy with what we did. That
sounds very interesting, but I'd also like to take you up on other issues. Nasarawa State is making waves right now, perhaps living up to its name, the home of solid minerals. Tell us about your lithium refining plans. And you also announced that about 100 indigenes with technical backgrounds will undergo training in lithium refining. How much money is going into the state government coffers from all of these mining operations?
Well, these companies do not belong to the state. These companies actually belong to investors that come in. But let me take you this way. When we realized what was going on, we also went and participated in one of the companies that is doing that. And I brought my knowledge of the oil and gas, where owners who are not operators are now given signature bonus. So the first $1.5 million that came to the state at the time, came purely from a company for Nasarawa State just being a non-financial partner of the transaction. Now, after that, every company that is mining in Nasarawa State, we have an executive order that company must also process in Nasarawa State. And we do this to protect the environment, to bring about technical know-how, and then to improve the industrialization of the state. So far, the biggest refining company that has been was commissioned recently by the president through the Senate president is working, called Avatar. We have a bigger company now of roughly about 3 million liters, three times, in fact, the size of the other company, that will be completed in May. Now, all these companies, we have our employees, so we gain from taxes, from tenements, from this, so from every other sources, apart from the fact that our people are doing. So are also gaining, technically.
All right. Allow me to deviate a bit, Mr. Governor. I'll come back to Nasarawa State, but let's talk about politics. In January, you were very sure Malam Nasir El-Rufai was not going to leave the APC to form a merger somewhere. Despite how glaring it was that he was in talks with some members of the SDP, you still had some positive outlook about El-Rufai's constant jab at the APC and the Bola Tinubu-led government. How do you react to this official departure from the APC? Was it too hasty in his decision?
Well, Mr. El-Rufai is not from Nasarawa State. He's at the federal list from Kaduna State, even though we have a border. And I think the people of Kaduna State have answered that clearly. I have seen what the governor has said. I saw what the secretary of the party in the state has said. And I saw what the former Senator Sheikh Hussaini also has said. So they don't feel the impact of his leaving the party. They believe it is completely insignificant, and they don't really pay much attention, and they strongly believe that the party may even become, more popular in some areas, especially because, when you are a governor, you end up having enemies and friends. So, and the people who spoke so far have shown that Governor El-Rufai actually acquired more enemies than friends, and most of those enemies will now turn around and be an asset to the party. So they are coming back to the party. I was looking at some of the interviews by Sheikh Hussaini, and that's what he said. So I will live by that, because I didn't really come to talk about El-Rufai. I came to talk about Nasarawa State. So I don't think, yeah.
All right, but, I mean, one of the things he said was that the APC was not fair to him. Would you say that was right in its entirety?
I don't think anybody leaving or joining the party will change much. To be honest with you, removing a sitting president like Asuwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu will be an uphill task. Most of the states are doing better now. Most of the party has given him a thumbs high for the wonderful. We just finished our executive meetings. We just finished our caucus meetings, and he received tremendous support from the party and from all the governors so far that were there, and from all the stakeholders that were there. So to say somebody, an ex-governor leaving the party, therefore is somebody that will make somebody to lack sleep, I don't see it. I think Malam Nasiru El-Rufai has the right to do what he wants to do, and he did what he had to do. So for me, it's not an issue.
All right, Your Excellency, so quickly before I let you go, how true is it that you've shown interest in contesting for the Nasarawa North senatorial ticket of the APC in 2027?
It's not an issue for me. I came in, I'm a little bit different from some of these people. I'm not a traditional politician. I'm a politician that came in from the private sector for the purpose to be a governor and to serve. And that is the reason why I have learned, to be contented with whatever I have. Anything whatsoever that I have, I thank God that I have. Anything that I try, I'm not able to have, I thank God that I'm not able, for not giving me that. Maybe that's the best thing for me. So for that reason, being a senator, being a chairman of local government, being that, they are not even on my list at the moment. I'm more concerned about using the remaining 2 years, to give the best 2 years of my entire 8 years. And so far, thanks to Mr. President and thanks to the federal government, with the kind of support and the resources we are seeing, I have no doubt whatsoever that our last 2 years will be the best 2 years that we have by the grace of God.